Hey, what's up guys, it's DarkArmedDuelist, and today I'm going to be doing a Shaddoll Dinosaur deck profile. So I'm really excited for this one. It's a really fun deck that's actually probably one of the most competitive, Shaddoll decks variants that you guys see nowadays, because it just makes so many big monsters and controls the game so well that it just is good. It's really a good deck, with Ultimate Conductor Tyranno being a 3500 beat stick, and then it being backed up by Shaddoll Construct. It just can be so devastating to your opponent. So without further ado, guys, let's get started on this. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell there so you can become part of the notification squad, and definitely let's get into this. So first off, we're going to be playing 2 copies of Ultimate Conductor Tyranno. This card is a really good card in the deck. Basically, it's kind of like Blackluster Soldier or Chaos Monster. You banish 2 dinosaur monsters from your graveyard, and then once per turn during either player's turn, you can destroy 1 monster in your opponent's hand, or 1 monster in your hand or field, and if you do, change all face-up monsters your opponent controls to face-down defense position, and this card can attack all monsters your opponent controls once each, and at the end of the damage step, if this card attacks a defense position monster, you can inflict 1,000 points of damage to your opponent, and send the monster to the graveyard. So the really cool thing about this card is that it can attack all monsters your opponent controls. That is nuts. And it's 3,500. It's huge. This card is huge. So it's not that big of a deal to just not flip link monsters face down and just attack into them. But being able to special summon itself by banishing 2 dinosaur monsters is nuts. That's really, really awesome and really big. So this card is a really pivotal card in the deck. I probably wouldn't play it any more than 2, maybe 3 since we're playing a Shaddoll variant, but it's still good at 2. I play a single copy of Overtex. Overtex is really good as a Shaddoll fusion target because it has the ability that once per turn, when an opponent's monster activates a spell or trap, not that one, let's see, if you do destroy that monster, if this card is sent to the graveyard by a card effect, you can add a Evolution Pill spell from your deck to your hand. So if you use it as a target for your copy of Shaddoll Fusion, you can just instantly grab it back, grab the Evolution Pill, and then banish 2 cards from your graveyard, and then instantly go into an Ultimate Conductor Tyranno and have Shaddoll Construct or Shaddoll Winda and a copy of Ultimate Conductor Tyranno. Now, this deck usually makes Winda more often than it makes Construct, but the option is still there. So then we play 3 copies of Dino Wrestler Prankatops because it's a really good dinosaur monster, and it has the ability that if you're going second, which the majority of the time in this deck, all Shaddoll decks just about you're going second, but this has the ability to can special summon it from your hand, and then you can treat a Dino Wrestler monster you control and then target 1 card your opponent controls and destroy it, which is really good in this deck. A single copy of Giant Rex, which if it's banished, you get to special summon it back, which is a really good card. And then we play one of the best searchers in the entire game, and that is 3 copies of Soul Eating Oviraptor. Soul Eating Oviraptor is literally one of the best searchers in the entire game right now, besides something like Elemental Hero Stratos, but it has the ability that if it's normal or special summon, you can take a dinosaur monster and either add it to your hand or send it to the graveyard. Then you can target 1 level 4 or lower dinosaur type monster on the field and destroy it, then special summon a dinosaur type monster from your graveyard in defense position. So it just rips dinosaurs back to your field by banishing or destroying a dinosaur on your field. You can destroy 1, special summon 1 back. Some of your dinosaurs benefit off of being destroyed, so this card is a really good card in the deck. Then we play 3 copies of our Miscellaneousaurus, which was at 1 recently on the last 2 or 3 lists. It came back to 1 or 3, which was just kind of like one of those, wait a minute, it just went from 1 to 3, what happened? So basically this has the ability that during either player's main phase, you can send this card from your hand to the graveyard, and during that main phase, dinosaur monsters you control are unaffected by your opponent's card effects, activated effects, and you can banish any number of dinosaur type monsters from your graveyard, including this card, and special summon a dinosaur monster from your deck. So you can banish 4 dinosaurs from your graveyard. You can instantly special summon a level 4 dinosaur type monster from your graveyard or from your deck, which is really good because usually what you're going to do with Miscellaneousaurus is either summon the Jurassic Yugioh, which you're either going to summon this or you're going to summon out a copy of Soul Eating Oviraptor. Those are the only real targets that you're ever going to make with this. And then we're moving into the Shaddoll engine. I play a single copy of Beast because Beast is just good at 1 in a lot of Shaddoll decks. Basically, if it's flip face up, you get to draw 2 cards. And if it's sent to the graveyard, you get to draw a card. And then Shaddoll Dragon because it does pop spells and traps when it's sent to the graveyard, and it's compulse when it's flip face up on a monster. And then something that I do that not a lot of people do, and that's 1 copy of Shaddoll Falco. Shaddoll Falco to me is a really good recovery monster that if it's flip face up, you get to target a Shaddoll monster in your graveyard and then just special summon it back in face down defense position. And if it's sent to the graveyard by a card effect, you can special summon it in face down defense position, which is just really good to put more monsters on the board to be able to get your Shaddolls back. A single copy of Glow Bulb. Glow Bulb just lets us synchro for anything that we might need, like a copy of Nat Beast with our Giant Rex, or a copy of, I don't know, a single copy of, you know, like Trishula with 2 level 4 monsters. Like, it's just really good to have in here as a second tuner monster to go into all sorts of different plays. And then for the last 3 monsters, I'm playing 3 copies of Ash Blossom. Ash Blossom's just really good in the deck to be able to stop our opponent from doing all sorts of shenanigans. So that's it for the monsters, guys. Let's get into the spells. So for the spells, we're going to be playing a copy of Monster Reborn. Monster Reborn's really good in the deck because it brings back a lot of your different monsters, like Construct if she's sent to the graveyard, Window if she's sent to the graveyard, if you fusion summon her properly. But it's just a really good card to bring back monsters that you have. Foolish Burial because you can send, like, your copy of Miscellaneous Swords from deck to graveyard to make it live, to send stuff to, like, Overtext to the graveyard, send your Shaddolls to the graveyard. This card's really live in this deck and it's really good. 2 copies of Double Evolution Pill. Double Evolution Pill is good because you banish a dinosaur monster and 1 non-dinosaur monster from your graveyard or hand, and then special summon a level 7 or higher dinosaur type monster from your hand or deck, ignoring its summoning conditions, which is always going to be Ultimate Conductor Tyranno on this card. So this card is really good. 3 copies of Fossil Dig, which lets us search any level 6 or lower dinosaur type monster from our deck to our hand, which is going to always be Overtext usually, or not Overtext, but Soul Devouring Overraptor. Overraptor is so good in this deck. Like, it is the main normal summon that you're going to be doing in this deck. 3 copies of Shaddoll Fusion. Shaddoll Fusion is a really awesome card in this deck because basically you can use monsters from your deck, which a lot of your dinosaurs benefit off of being sent to the graveyard, like your copies of Overtext, which is usually going to be your first target to go into Winda. So this card's really good as a 3 of in the deck. 3 copies of Call by the Grave to stop our opponent from hand trapping us. We don't want to get hand trapped in this deck. I mean, we can power through it, but, you know, we don't want to be. 3 copies of Super Polymerization. This card is super live. I know, super live, Super Polymerization. This card is super live in this deck because you can make anything from Shiganaga, Shaddoll Construct with your opponent's monster, Shaddoll Construct, Shaddoll Winda, Shaddoll Shiganaga. You can make Mud Dragon, you can make Starving Infusion Dragon. There's just so many options with this card. It's ridiculous. And so that's why we play it as a 3 of in this deck. And then for the last 3 cards that I play in the main deck, it's going to be 3 copies of Instant Fusion. Instant Fusion's really good in this deck because with Instant Fusion, you're able to summon out Shaddoll Winda, and then if you link it away for something, you can just instantly add Shaddoll Fusion from your deck to your hand. Or you can even summon something like Thousand Eyes or Millennium Eyes and then link them away for Link Rebo and take an opponent's monster off their side of the field and take it, or stop hand traps with something like Millennium Eyes. So it's a really good option to be able to use this to just be able to just go after your opponent with this card. It's really a really good card to play in Dinosaurs. So that's it for the main deck, guys. Let's get into the extra deck. So for the extra deck, we are going to be playing 2 copies of Shaddoll Construct. I only play 2 copies of Shaddoll Construct in this deck because it doesn't have as many light targets. The only light targets it has in the main deck is going to be your copies of the Ultimate Conductor Tyranno, which is not that big of a deal to use one of them as a fusion material, because you usually, once you summon one, you're going to win. So it's not a big deal to use one of them. But it also has the ability that if Foolish Burial is a Shaddoll card from your deck to the graveyard when it's summoned, which is really good to be able to summon something like Falco face down, so it's kind of like a recovery for whatever Shaddoll monster you use, like what else you've used. So it's really a good card to, you know, play in the deck as a 2 of. And Super Poly makes it really live because you just activate Super Poly. If your opponent has a light monster on the field, you just banish it, you just fusion summon it away and summon, you know, Construct. 2 copies of Winda. Winda's a really good card in the deck too because Winda is basically like, hey, you can't special summon once per turn. And I've already established my board, but you can only special summon once per turn. So it's a really good card to play as a 2 of in the deck. Starving Venom, Fusion Dragon, and Mud Dragon for the instant fusion, or not instant fusion, but super poly targets. They're really good super poly targets. Like, all of these are super polymerization targets. I don't play Shiganaga in this deck because I have the Prankatops and the Giant Rex, but I feel like Winda and, Winda and Construct are so much more viable in this deck because you only play the 3 Shaddoll monsters in the deck, so it's really hard to get Shiganaga's effect to go off. And then something like Shaddoll Trains, it would be more live, but in this deck, it's not that great. So I don't play her in here. But you can side her in if you're playing against an Earth deck. Then I play a single copy of Thousand Eyes Restrict and a copy of Millennium Eyes Restrict for the instant fusion targets. They're really good in deck to be able to go into instant fusion and just go after your opponent with, you know, the effect of your Thousand Eyes Restrict being able to take a monster, or your Millennium Eyes Restrict being able to negate monster effects. It's just really good. And it's really awesome to be able to go into Linkuriboh, so you can just have that link arrow pointing down. A copy of Trishula, because it's really easy to go in Trishula. Trishula is just takes like 2 monsters and a tuner, which you play level 1 monsters in the deck that are tuner monsters, so you just use one of them to go into this, or you use Nat Beast with a Giant Rex Glow Bulb to go into Nat Beast. So Nat Beast is really good in the deck too, because a lot of decks don't play that many traps. You're usually going to have face monsters or spells, so this card negates the spells aspect of that. 1 copy of Dolka and a copy of Lagia. These are just generic Dinosaur XYZ monsters that you're going to be playing. They're really good in the deck because when a monster would be normal or special summoned, you can detach 2 materials from it and negate the summon. Or if a monster effect is activated, you can detach a material from this and negate the activation if you do destroy it. So both of them have their aspects that make them really good in different situations. But if you're going first, Lagia is better because you want to make it so your opponent doesn't establish their board. Or if you're going second, Dolka is better because you don't want to have your opponent, you know, establish a board or activate effects. Then I play for my Link monsters, I play Boral Sword because I can OTK with it, and it's really easy to put 4 monsters on field and use even the monsters that I use to, like, if I summon like Trishula or something like that, I'm not afraid to use Trishula as a material for Boral Sword to get the Link arrows or use it to OTK my opponent. Then I play a copy of Reproduxsaurus. This card's really good in the deck because it can change attributes of an opponent's monsters. So I usually make this pretty quickly to get my monsters on the field into the graveyard, and changing attributes for Glow Bulb to go into Nat Beast is really dirty. Like, that's really bad, but it's really funny to change the Soul Eating Oviraptor to an Earth because it points to this, and then looking at your opponent and going, hey, I'm going to synchro these together for Nat Beast response. And they're like, wait a minute, you can't do that. It's a dark. And I'm like, not anymore. And then we play a single copy of Linkuriboh because Linkuriboh is really good in the deck for Glow Bulb and for your Millennium Eyes, Thousand Eyes Restrict. Like, it just goes hand in hand. It's kind of ironic that you play a Kuriboh to go into after you use Thousand Eyes, because that was like what blinded, you know, Thousand Eyes in the original series. So anyways, just reminiscing of the original series. So anyways, guys, that's it for the deck. I hope you enjoyed this one. It's a super fun deck to play with. Anything Shaddoll is good to me. Like, so I definitely recommend that you guys give this a shot. It's probably, again, one of the more competitive Shaddoll deck profiles that you're going to see with Shaddoll Dinosaurs. Like, any other variant is going to be good, but it's not, like, way tier 1 meta. Like, this deck can compete at, like, a YCS or a Regionals. Like, all the other ones can, but this one really can. Like, this one's still consistently topping. Like, whereas the other ones are kind of more rogue. So, anyways, guys, this is DarkArmedDuelist. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and definitely hit that bell in there so you can become part of the notification squad, and I'll see you guys in the next video. See you around, guys.